One time, Mason was melting down and the normal threats were not working. I'll take your iPad away for the week. I don't care. You can't have dessert for the month. I don't care. Well, we can't go to Disney. I stopped myself and instantly looked over at Jim, whose expression matched mine. If there's one thing that I learned from my years speaking with parent counselors, it's that accountability matters. If you deliver a threat or a promise, you have to follow through or you lose every ounce of credibility. But what about our own accountability? I'm not talking about meeting a deadline for turning in your TPS report or bringing your car in for its oil change by the date on the windshield sticker. I'm talking about staying true to your word. But it's tricky because, well, no one's watching. No one's there to judge you or berate you, give you a solid eye roll. But without self-accountability or integrity, you can't get very far in life. For example, say you want to start working out. The night before, you set out your gear, give yourself a nighttime pep talk, admit that by George, tomorrow is the day you're gonna start at the gym. 5 a.m. rolls around and you peer at the clock and decide, tomorrow is the day I'm gonna start going to the gym. We face this conundrum all the time. We make commitments to ourselves, but we can't seem to follow through. So here are 3 ways that you can start being honest with yourself so you can make a commitment and stick to it. Listen to yourself. We each have an inner voice. The best way that I've found to find my inner voice is through journaling. Now, I'm not talking about prose, I'm talking about word vomit all over the keyboard. Just allow your thoughts to flow freely in this journaling practice and you'll start to hear the habits you fall into when you start justifying yourself. You'll hear if your voice is patient and kind or nasty and judgmental. So why does this matter? Well, imagine that your voice is your boss. What do you need to hear from your boss in order to do a good job? What would actually motivate you? If your boss was criticizing you left and right, do you think you might be inclined to retaliate or even give up? And what kind of employee are you if you keep making excuse after excuse in your head? What kind of working relationship is this anyway? Start developing an inner voice that's your champion, that offers wisdom, patience, and encouragement when you struggle to meet your commitments. Second, be honest with yourself, truly honest. This process can be painful, but there's no way to make progress in the world if we don't shed light on our own shortcomings. What's easy is to ignore them, but what's courageous is to accept them, and then with kindness and patience, work on them. By laying them all out on the table, you'll be able to use fresh eyes to sort through what's meaningful and offer the right prescription for success. Lastly, what's meaningful to you? By identifying your values, you make better choices for yourself, what actually matters in life. And as you see yourself sticking to your values, your confidence will rise and the speed at which you approach your goals will increase. So how do you define your values? Begin by asking yourself the following questions. When are you the happiest? Identify a moment when you felt proud of something you did. Imagine the greatest day of your life. Now take each instance and assign a value to it. You are happiest when you are sitting on the beach, painting in the sunset. Perhaps you value creativity. You are most proud when you stood up in 4th grade to your friend who was being bullied. Perhaps you value justice. The greatest day of your life was filled with laughter and adventure with your closest friends. Maybe you value friendship or adventure. Remind yourself of your values on a regular basis until you internalize them. Then you're far more likely to adhere to them when faced with a challenge. These are just a few tricks to help you strengthen the relationship you have with yourself. The more cooperatively you work with your inner voice, the more trustworthy you are with yourself, and the greater clarity you have with your values, the more likely you are to be able to stick to the promises that you make. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Be well.